Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. CNN, the most trusted name in news. You know, for a while I really thought things were going to get better. When the new ownership group took over with some of the things that new CEO Chris Litch were saying, at the time I thought, they were making the right moves. They were saying the right thing. It seemed like they had the right vision, but they simply didn't go far enough. Firing Brian Stelter was a good idea, was a good step. Eventually getting rid of Don Lemon, also a good idea. But the problem with CNN is that the rot is way too deep. If you really wanted to change things at the network, you'd pretty much have to fire almost everyone. You'd have to do a complete rehauling, a rebranding of the entire brand, the entire network. And I guess that's simply just not possible. Well, let's delve into the world of modern day CNN, quote, journalism. It's not journalism at all. Let me show you guys exactly what I mean by that. As CNN's little Anderson Cooper suffers a complete meltdown on air, almost suffering a complete breakdown, nearly brought to tears. We've got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so the idea is that CNN is the most trusted name in news. We don't do opinion. That's literally what they tell you. We only operate in facts. Fact-based, neutral journalism. Except the CNN town hall with Caitlin Collins, then the aftermath with Jake Tapper.
The former president, Donald Trump, had a lot to say tonight. Many of the things he said, of course, were abjectly false, a torrent of falsehoods even from the get-go.
And then, of course, Anderson Cooper.
Many of you have expressed deep anger and disappointment. Many of you are upset that someone who attempted to destroy our democracy was invited to sit on a stage in front of a crowd of Republican voters to answer questions and predictably continued to spew lie after lie after lie. And I get it. It was disturbing. It was disturbing to see and hear that person refer to a black law enforcement officer as a thug, an adjective he used many times to describe black men, and call Caitlin Collins, the moderator, nasty, which is what he calls any woman who stands up to him. It was disturbing to hear him speak so highly of QAnon conspirators and insurrectionists who assaulted police officers in our democracy on January 6th. And it was awful to hear him spread ridiculous lies about the election. And it was certainly disturbing to hear that audience, young and old, our fellow citizens, people who love their kids and go to church, laugh and applaud his lies and his continued defamation of a woman who, according to a jury of his peers, he's defamed. As good a job as Caitlin Collins did trying to fact-check him, it is impossible to fact-check fully because he lies so shamelessly.
Oh, spare me the sanctimony. How utterly pathetic. We totally understand how terrible Donald Trump was and how much of a liar he is. And we totally understand you have every right to never watch CNN ever again. What am I watching? This is journalism? No, of course not. This is fake news theater. I mean, what the heck even was that? What kind of news segment was I just subjected to? There's supposed to be a difference between CNN and MSNBC. MSNBC does opinion. CNN is supposed to do fact-based, neutral news and journalism, but that Anderson Cooper segment was essentially the same thing as watching Rachel Maddow. If I was Chris Litch, I would fire Anderson Cooper immediately the next day. You shouldn't be able to get away with this nonsense. You cannot call yourself a journalist and then engage in objective opinion, not to mention outright fake news. Oh, Caitlin Collins just couldn't keep up with the fact checks last night. No, pretty much every single Caitlin Collins, quote, fact check was either her injecting opinion, once again, or objectively false. Like claiming the Joe Biden classified documents in Chinatown story was fake news. She claimed that never happened. Well, we know it did. Or how she claimed that Donald Trump's claim that he requested National Guard on the day of January 6th, she claimed that he never did that, that never happened, but Byron Donalds fact-checked her during the post-town hall CNN panel. You have a CNN journalist, Anderson Cooper, taking to the air to vent his frustration, outrage, and disgust over all the falsehoods and all the lies, while literally promoting falsehoods and lies, not to mention coming from CNN. I mean, who do these people think they are lecturing us about fake news? CNN, the same network, who has been an instrumental part of promoting every single fake news story, especially in the Trump era. It's been 7 years of constant fake news from CNN. The same network that literally edited Joe Rogan's face to make him look sickly and pale. They made him look like a damn zombie to push a narrative. CNN, the same network with all of those journalists reporting on the 2020 summer of riots, standing in front of burning buildings as Antifa and BLM goons go on street arson rampages, claiming these protests have been overwhelmingly peaceful. They're peaceful protests. Fiery but peaceful protests. I mean, I could go on and on. I'd be here for an hour and a half, delving into every CNN fake news story. It's not really like I need to justify that claim or really even quantify it. We've been covering CNN fake news for years. It's all cataloged and documented. Without CNN's fake news, I wouldn't have a job. And it's especially ironic because the current president of the United States, Joe Biden, is the biggest liar in the current political game. I mean, seemingly the guy is allergic to telling the truth, yet CNN has no issue platforming his constant lies. And they make almost no effort to actually fact-check him. Supposed neutral journalism at CNN doesn't exist. It's a constant double standard. Everything Donald Trump says is immoral and dishonest, and shouldn't even be platformed, because people like Anderson Cooper, and those currently engaged in some sort of fake news mutiny at CNN, should be the arbiters of truth, and the ones who choose what kind of speech and what kind of ideas and opinions are platformed. I want you to give me the news straight up, and allow me to form my own opinion, not feign moral outrage. That's not journalism. This is not journalism.
He called a black law enforcement officer a thug. He said people here in Washington, D.C. at Chinatown don't speak English. He attacked Caitlyn as a nasty woman because she was trying to get him to answer a question. Perhaps most chillingly, the day after a 9-person jury of his peers in New York found him liable for sexual battery and defamation and ordered him to pay writer E. Jean Carroll $5 million, he made fun of her account. And many in the audience laughed.
And applauded. The former president making his first appearance tonight on this network since the 2016 election. He spoke with and took questions from New Hampshire Republican.
He made fun of E. Jean Carroll's account, and many in the audience laughed. Oh, the horror. What they're doing here is literally giving a one-sided account. Oh, how horrible and terrible. How could Donald Trump do this? Well, what if Donald Trump's right? What if her story is fake? What if she's falsely accusing Donald Trump to enrich herself through the court system selling books and media appearances? I mean, her story is certainly not credible. Wouldn't that be more outrageous and unethical than Donald Trump simply defending himself? CNN is garbage. While Brian Stelter was the face of fake news at the network, canceling his show didn't go far enough. Anderson Cooper, Jake Tapper, both of them are objectively awful. Just as bad as Brian Stelter, CNN is garbage, and they should all be fired for their total disregard for basic journalistic practices and ethics. Oh, and let's just wrap this video up. After Anderson Cooper's little clip there, Donald Trump posted a real spicy video to his Truth Social account.
That was President Donald J. Trump ripping us a new here on CNN's live presidential town hall. Thank you for watching. Have a good night.
And you guessed it, leftoids and journalists are fuming, but it's really the only appropriate response to the absolute trash coming out of this network. That's what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. Of course, you know we'd love to have you here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.